it's interesting to me how, you know, people try to say or try to tell people of color, black people, that their experiences aren't valid. Their experiences aren't real. For example, black people have been saying for years, these are our experiences with police. And I agree, the vast majority of police are good people and they're amazing people. But there's still this idea of policing within black communities that affects black communities. And there's like this brutality in the black communities with this policing. And people try to justify it and they make up excuses. Like they say, well, there's only a certain percentage of black people that die each year by police hands. Or, what about black on black crimes? And they just start not listening. And they start, and I don't know what the term is called, where you deflect, you start deflecting off the subject. Because yes, there is black on black crime, there's white on white crime, there's black on white crime, there's white on black crime, there's crime. That's a whole different subject. That needs to be addressed too, but that's a whole different subject. But what people have been saying is that in the black community, there's this treatment, and we're starting to see it now in film. But even when you show it on film, they're still arguing about it. People are arguing about the black experience and saying, well, that person deserved it, or that person shouldn't have done this or that. And they're demeaning that experience. And it's interesting to me because it's like, one of the things I've learned as a parent, to be a good parent, one of the most important things you do is listen to your kid. If your kid comes to you with a problem, even like even if it's not my problem, my kid has had experience that day. Maybe had an experience with a teacher, or maybe somebody tried to bully him that day. Even if it's not my problem, I have to listen to that kid and engage that kid. And the most important thing I do is acknowledge, that okay, I understand. This is real what you went through. What's been happening, and what that'll do is that will help that kid have confidence, maintain confidence, have an understanding of their situation. They'll be able to move forward, think it through. They'll partnership with you. But what people are doing with the black community is just the opposite. When a person of color says, I had this experience with the police and this has been going on for generations, but this has been going on, people are like, deflecting. Well, there's black crime, or, well, police don't kill as many people, or whatever it is. And it's like this deflection and not taking it seriously. And there's an important lesson there. There's an important lesson there. Because the lesson is that, and I see the younger generation doing this now with the Black Lives Movement. Like, even so, with the Black Lives Movement, people are saying, no, this is a violent group, or this group is, I heard someone say, this group is against Christianity. This Black Lives Movement is against Christianity. And which is not true. But the lesson here, though, here's the lesson that I've learned, is that we can't be looking for, as black people, or as people in general, really, if you want to be successful in anything, you can't be looking just for the approval of others. I mean, you have to know what you know. Like, you have to know your experience and accept your experience, and not necessarily try to get approval. You try to get partnership with people, you try to get understanding with people, but if they don't, you still have to know, you still have to move forward. Like, there is police brutality in the black community. There just is. It's a statistic that we can't even measure because it's not documented. But people in the black community know it and they talk about it. So it's there. And we can't keep trying to get the approval of others. We have to let them know that there's, this is going on. We're not going to accept it. And this is what we want police to do about it. And this is how we want to help police to do about it. And this is how we want to partnership with police so that we can get better. Because there's things we can do too to help. And there's also things that the police can do. It's a partnership. How do we get this better? But to just accept and continually trying to argue with people who deny that there's no police brutality or try to deny that this Black Lives Matter movement is valid. They keep throwing all lives matter. Yeah, that's true. All lives matter. But the reason why we're doing the Black Lives Matter is because this police brutality thing. That's affecting the black community. That's how it came about. So, yeah, so moving forward, in life, it's just keep in mind that things happen to everyone, whether it's police brutality or anything else in your life. You could be anybody. And if people don't believe you, if they're not buying in, you don't need them to buy in. You don't need them to accept it so you can move forward. You just don't. Because what happens is what's happening right now with this police brutality thing. The reform is happening, changes are happening, it's amazing, but it took so long. It took too long. It took generations of suffering, generations of people going to jail, generations of people being brutalized. Even myself, I've had a couple experiences. Most of my experiences have been great with police, but I've had a couple experiences myself. Not where I was brutalized, but where it was just like kind of sketchy, the situations I'm in. So it just happens. So yeah, when you're telling your story of things that you go through as anybody, but as people of color, I'm particularly talking about, but as anybody, and that person, that group doesn't believe you, doesn't hold value to your story, it's up to you to hold your own situation as valuable, and you move forward anyway. Someone doesn't believe you, you move forward anyway. You go around them, you go through them, you do whatever it is, but it's like you don't stop needing people to validate your experience, what you're going through. You know what you're going through. You're going through pain. You know what you're going through. You're being brutalized. You know what you're going through. You're being denied opportunities, whatever it is. You know it. So when you explain to people as a form of communication, which is the right thing to do, and people don't believe you, it doesn't matter. You move forward anyway. We have to stop holding so much weight and value of people understanding what our experience is or what we go through, because we don't need it to move forward.